What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another week, another episode, another day. I shouldn't say week. It's Tuesday. I'm sleep deprived. So, how's everyone doing? Hope everyone's doing well. Good morning. Good morning. How is everyone doing? Let me see who's the all here. El Nini, Jason, Travis. Who am I missing? Scrolling down at clips. Good morning. Kylo, good morning. Big Mad Mo, good morning. Roic, good morning. Kylo Green. All right. Good morning, everybody. Little story for you. I'm a little out of sync this morning. Last night after stream, I stayed up, worked a little bit till about 1 o'clock in the morning. Went to sleep at 1 o'clock in the morning. Normal schedule. And then around 2 o'clock, I woke up and all of my cows were out in the middle of the road. My dog was barking like crazy. They busted the fence down. And so I had to wrangle cows for an hour and a half to get them back into the pasture. So then I couldn't go to sleep because it was 4 a.m. And if you notice, I did a post in Discord posting news stories because I couldn't sleep. And then I was up until about 5:30. Then I went back to sleep. And then I woke up at 7:30. So I've only had about 2.5, maybe 2 hours and 45 minutes of sleep. So I'm a little sluggish today. So how's everyone doing? On today's show, we're going to be talking about PlayStation 5 makes the most sense at the moment for Ori devs, suggests that no rest for the wicked will skip Xbox for launch due to the market conditions, which we've kind of touched on before, right? Like if I was a small company and I had to put my game out on a platform, you would pick PlayStation because it's the biggest chance you have for people to play it. And the other one would be PC, right? So we'll talk about that. Battlefield 6 open beta includes playlist with class-specific weapons, so we'll talk about that as well. And then we're going to watch a Bueller News talking about the gaming collapse killed another Expedition 33. Not Expedition 33, but another type of game like Expedition 33. So we'll talk about that as well. If you guys like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. If you'd like to support us in other ways, we have an album that's on all major platforms. You can see the links in the description down below. All the music that was playing in the morning before the show, that's all created, written by me, made by Suno AI, okay, for the music and the beats and stuff like that. But if you like it, download it, stream it, helps us out. Appreciate it very much. Let's go on PS5. All right, I love when you guys talk about like consoles and stuff like that in chat. You're like, I'm still waiting for the PlayStation to go up in price, which is funny because the two people that are talking about PlayStation are two people that own a PlayStation. So why would you be waiting for the price? Obviously, I know what you're saying it going, well, people keep telling me that the price is going to go up and it hasn't gone up yet, right? Like, it doesn't really matter. You already own a PlayStation, and the people that want a PlayStation can go buy a PlayStation, and the people that already own it. You know what I mean? So you guys get so bored, you guys have to like bait each other into conversations about console wars. Just funny. All right. First topic. PlayStation 5 makes the most sense at the moment. Ori Dev suggests no rest for the wicked will skip Xbox for launch due to the market conditions. Moon Studios' next title, No Rest for the Wicked, might skip. I'm gonna highlight that word. Might skip Xbox at launch, with the firm's suggestion of focus on PlayStation after looking at the numbers. All right, so Ori and the Blind Forest developer Moon Studios has offered an update on the status of Xbox version for the follow-up for No Rest for the Wicked. No Rest for the Wicked is a top-down action RPG, gorgeous visuals, tight combat. It takes cues from Diablo and weaves them into a higher skilled ceiling, rewarding precision and patience. Much like Ori before it, the game's dark, handcrafted setting and a bunch of game mechanics and systems gives some huge potential, and it continues to chart future through the Steam Early Access program. No Rest for the Wicked is $39.99 on Steam for PC. As of writing this, it's already very excellent. Xbox fans found that Ori and the Blind Forest and Will of the Wisps might also have been wondering when No Rest for the Wicked would also show up on a preferred platform. If so, I have some potential bad news. It says, in comments On the No Rest for the Wicked Discord, Moon Studios CEO Thomas Mahler offered an update on the console version of the game, noting that the Xbox is the lowest priority behind Switch 2 and PlayStation 5 for console versions. Mahler said he planned to discuss things with Microsoft to see what makes sense for Xbox. Ginger Prime commented on this and said, it's wild news today, as No Rest for the Wicked might skip Xbox, and that just depends on that. It seems to make sense for the platform. PlayStation 5 and Nintendo Switch 2 confirmed. I wonder if this is more of just an Xbox becoming a PC at this point or whatnot. What do you all think? Okay. Says it follows up with X Mahler clarify the Rest of the Wicked is ultimately shipped on all platforms, but likely not at the same time, with the PlayStation 5 making the most sense based on the numbers. Now, I'm going to assume, just like I assume on most things I talk about, which usually come true, is that, again, if I'm a small studio, if I'm an independent person, if I'm a small studio making a game, okay, I have to put my thing on a platform, right? You pick it out. You're like, I'm making this game. Where do I want to do? I'm making a mobile game. Obviously, you're putting it on mobile. Which mobile? Am I putting it on all mobile? Am I putting it on one side or the other, right? If I'm making a PC game, do I put it on Epic or do I put it on Steam? Do I put it on both, right? If I'm making a console game and a PC game, you're like, okay, I don't want to spread myself too thin. What do we do first? Like in order, right? So you're like, okay, well, we're definitely doing PC because that's where it was, right? That's where they built it. They're like, we're going to put it on PC. And they're like, as far as console goes, if we had to pick one or two, what would you do, chat? Would you pick one with 70 million consoles out there, or would you pick the one with 38 million consoles out there? Obviously, as a business, you would look at it and go, I'm going to pick the one with 70 million consoles potentially out there that people can buy it. Potentially, right? Not everyone's going to buy it, right? So you look at that because you're already in a niche market with the game that you've created. You've created a Souls-like Diablo game, okay? So you're going to have less people buying that as already. And then you're going to have people that are interested in it. And you're like, okay, well, the market is PC. And the market, if I had to go to console, I would pick the higher number, right? Greater than, less than. Unless all the people that like that type of game are over on the smaller platform, which wouldn't make sense, you would pick PlayStation first. Now, obviously, Nintendo is getting picked because that's a handheld mobile device, and people could take it on the go, so that's smart of them as well. So people that are like, hey, you know what? I have a PlayStation, I have a Switch, I might buy it twice. I might buy it twice because I have a handheld and I can play it on the go. Who knows, right? So it says, Thomas clarifies his Discord comments. We want to support consoles, and looking at the number, PlayStation 5 makes more sense at the moment. Ultimately, we ship on all platforms, but likely not at the same time, which makes sense. Hogwarts Legacy did this, right? Much bigger company, but they started with the higher-end consoles first with Xbox, Series S, X, and PlayStation 5. Then they went over to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Then they went over to Nintendo Switch, right? So they worked their way, and it took them a year. It took them a year to do that. Okay, the opportunity on PlayStation is vast, but Xbox still has some tricks up their sleeves, okay? It's certainly true that PlayStation 5 boosts the larger console audience as of writing, although I would have expected No Rest for the Wicked to potentially over-index on Xbox due to the Moon Studios fandom therein. Xbox already has a reported growth on PC and Xbox Cloud Gaming with Xbox Play Anywhere, Xbox Game Pass, and Stream Your Own Game initiative, although it's still likely smaller overall than the opportunity presents by PlayStation. Now, I wonder if not announcing on the console, right? They're not saying it's on the console at launch. It might not be. I wonder if they just put it on the cloud. Do you know what I mean? Like they just put it where technically it's not on the but it is on the console, but it's on PC. You could play it. I don't know. Okay. It says there's been a debate within the game community about the sales opportunities on Xbox as a platform. When it comes to games not included into Game Pass, Xbox Game Pass, despite this, PlayStation itself has opted to bring Helldivers 2 to Xbox outside the Xbox Game Pass, likely sensing the opportunity due to the platform's traditional presence for shooters. Well, no, PlayStation, look, I don't know why this is such a hard concept to understand why Helldivers 2 went over to Xbox. Okay? PlayStation put Helldivers 2 over on Xbox because they got all the people that were interested in Helldivers 2 on PlayStation. They got all the people that were pretty much interested in on PC, and they're like, well, how do we keep growing? The people that are playing the game or loving the game, they're coming back, but we need more people. We need more people to come into the market to potentially get more microtransactions down the road, season pass, more people to come in, keep the servers full, right? And since they're already maxed out on the PlayStation side for the most part and PC, they're like, hey, let's throw in, even if it is 35 million, they might sell 2 million, 3 million, but that's still 2-3 million more times 40 that's coming in. So that's smart business, especially since it's been a year and a half since Helldivers came out, right? So games similar to the rest of the Wicked, like Diablo 3 and 4, also have enjoyed a lot of popularity on Xbox over the years. Pre and post Xbox Game Pass. So I would expect that No Rest for the Wicked to enjoy similar success there as well. But also independent studio developers often prioritize per platform development purely for cost reasons, obviously. Without Game Pass deal or some form of funding from Microsoft to offset the cost, the opportunity on PlayStation is clearly the biggest. Nintendo Switch 2 is already rapidly catching up there as well in the competition for games on the Switch 2 exclusives to pretty minimal right now. So there's also a big opportunity also there. And it's also mobile. As a fixed camera perspective, game Xbox Cloud Gaming Imagine update algorithm would also have an easier time providing a native feeling experience with No Rest for the Wicked, as Xbox Cloud Gaming looks to shed its beta tag in the coming months per our source. Increasingly, I wonder if Microsoft in the future would offer developers cloud-first marketing opportunities as well. So there you go. They said something there. So maybe they are. Maybe they are doing some sort of cloud and it's not coming to Xbox. So check me out here, right? Make a problem, sell a solution. So you don't market for the actual console right away, but you market it that it's on the cloud because you want more people to use the cloud. Why? Because I did an example yesterday with Tesla, right? To map out the city faster, you had to make more people get the car. And more people got the car, the more, quickly it got mapped out, right? So it learned faster. So cloud gaming is not the top priority right now, but they need more people to play on cloud gaming. So if they force you, right? Like if you can't get physical copies of a game, you're going to get digital copies of the game. If you can't get the game on your system, but you can play it through the cloud, they can force people to play it through the cloud. Now, that would be interesting because that would be opening the gate not just for No Rest for the Wicked, but for other games in the future, because more games coming just to the cloud, maybe the first month or two, and then it comes later down the road. Again, this is just my speculation. This is just what I'm talking about here. It would help the cloud get better because it would force people to use the cloud gaming. You see what I'm saying? In any case, be sure to check out No Rest for the Wicked on Steam and let us know in the comments, would you like to see it on Xbox? I don't think anyone would say no unless you're just playing the console war game. Obviously, the developer even says they're going to go to all platforms, just not at launch. So I don't really think this is a big deal because if all games are coming out on all platforms, because it's going to happen, okay, down the road, more and more games are going to come out on more platforms. If they have time exclusives, and it's not even a time exclusive. Let me retract that. It's not even a time exclusive. It's a time exclusive in the minds of us going, oh, well, PlayStation got it first and whatnot. But obviously, it's just because the developer itself can't juggle all of these platforms all at once. So like, well, let's prioritize because this is the biggest, and then work your way down until we're on all platforms, right? So I think it happens more like that. I think smaller developers look at this and go, well, we don't have the manpower to put it out on all consoles at the exact same time. So obviously it'll be PC, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch will surpass Xbox within, I would say, a year and a half because it's Nintendo, right? They have 155 or 154 million Switch 1s out there. Switch 2 will probably, in its life cycle, 7-8 years from now, will probably be up there as well. It definitely probably will break 100 million, right? So, which Nintendo's pretty much the only one that do it in the last couple of years for multiple systems. So with their Game Boys and whatnot. So it makes sense, right? But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments section down below. What do you think about No Rest for the Wicked that might miss Xbox from launch date and come out at a later date? Do you think this is fine? Do you think this is going to be normal for smaller companies? Let me know in the comments section. Let me know in the live chat. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and if you like what I do here, check out some of our videos. Thanks for watching. All right. Let me see what you guys are saying. What's going on, chat? What's going on, Dustin? Roadkill, Water Bear, Robert Jones, Ray, what's going on? All right, we scroll back up. Wonder Rose, good morning. Yeah, I was just talking about that with my son, Mo. Descenders. He was playing it this morning. I was like, hey, you playing that? Because I didn't know if he was playing Republic Riders or whatever. And I was like, is that new game on Game Pass? He's like, what game? I'm like, I don't know. The one that's like Rider Republic. He's like Descenders? He's like, yeah. So he's already playing it. Roadkill says, yeah, no need to make the games for Xbox when everybody on Xbox players on PC, right? PC Master Race. Well, no, it's not even that, Roadkill. It's the numbers, right? If it is on PC, then you could play it through, cloud or whatnot. But making it for the actual console to run on the console, it doesn't make sense if you're a small developer and you only have a certain period of time to work on it to get it out the door on time. You would want to put it and prioritize to the bigger console base, right? Rook says, here's the twist. Xbox ends up giving the great deal to get it on Game Pass. Perhaps. I mean, the company Ori and the Blind Forest and Ori Will of the Wisp are all on Game Pass. So who knows? Maybe they throw money at it. And it becomes on Game Pass. Travis says, better idea. You make the game for best console ever, Dreamcast. I missed that Dreamcast. Dreamcast was a fantastic system, Travis. Did you play? I don't think you played it, did you? I guess you were young, because you're 11 years younger than me. Yeah, I guess you were in your teens. I guess you were in your teens when it came out. Eclipse says, yeah, they already said that the game is going to be on cross-platform and cross-save. Yeah, it's not that it's not coming to Xbox. It's just not coming to Xbox at launch. Might, right? It might not come at launch. Cross-platform PC and PlayStation, Xbox is just a PC, so you're included with the PlayStation and PC. I think Roadkill, you upset because you didn't find anything with your metal detector this weekend? What's happening? Water Bear says, but Xbox says consoles are selling like hotcakes. Good morning, everyone. Did they say that? I don't think anyone said that. I don't think anyone has ever said that. Xbox says Xbots. I know what you said. Xbots are saying that it sells like hotcakes. I don't think anyone has ever said that. I don't think even the Xbots have said that. Yeah, they saw Forza Horizon outsold Astrobot Game of the Year on PlayStation. That is true. Not only Eclipse did Forza Horizon outsell the Game of the Year Astrobot on PlayStation, but a 5-year-old game outsold Astrobot on PlayStation. I mean, think about that. The game doesn't look good? What game doesn't look good? No Rest for the Wicked? Are you saying visually it doesn't look good, or it doesn't look good like you don't like that type of game, it doesn't look good? Please clarify, because Roken says, I might not be a big deal to you, but other people it will piss off. For what? What you're saying? Just to say shit? So you're just trolling. That's what you're doing. Eclipse says, and then they announced they also want to do expansions to make the game go longer. It's good old days of gaming. Make a game, sell a game. Wow. Imagine that. We just got Lost in Random 2 on Game Pass. Why should they give money to this studio? And they have toxic relationship. Because Xbox likes money. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's funny that you guys think that, like, this matters. Like, they have, like, this toxic relationship. Businesses don't think in love and hate. They think in big money and small money. That's what businesses think of. Like, I don't think like Phil Spencer's going out there and being like, we're not giving money to these guys. Fuck them. Like, that's not happening. They'll put their business aside if there is drama so they can make money. That's how it works. PS5 blows as ponies think Sony is selling consoles like hotcakes, but last quarter hardware sales were down double digits percentage, only 55 million active. Roadkill says, I found 0.21 grams of gold, so don't say nothing. Well, there you go. You got to start somewhere. I wasn't trying to make fun of you. I was just saying, I know you're on a kick on the metal detector thing, right? So I was just saying, did you not find anything? Maybe that's why you're looking to troll. Ray says, well, some delusional fans believe that Xbox is selling like crazy. They're weird. Yeah, I don't know who that is. I can't find records on that. I've never seen someone say that Xbox is selling like hotcakes. I don't know. Never seen that. The only thing that I saw selling like hotcakes was the two things that Sony did. Not the console, but they were saying that the handheld, the Portal was selling like hotcakes, and the VR headset, the PSVR 2 was selling like hotcakes. That I do remember. And both those things did not sell like hotcakes. It's an insult to hotcakes. Roic says Forza Horizon is probably my favorite racing game. Yeah, it's really good. It's fun. It's fun. It's not super arcadey, but it's also not super realistic. It's like that nice blend in between. There's just so much to do in that game. So much to do. Waterbear says, I don't care for either. I play games on all platforms. Yeah, I don't care. Roadkill says Astrobot won Game of the Year, so don't think you can talk shit about Astrobot. Well, you can when a 5-year-old racing game comes to your platform and more people buy that than the Game of the Year. You can. Literally, I just did. When 1.5 million people buy Astrobot out of 70 million consoles out there, and 4 million people get Forza, a 5-year-old racing game, when you have the greatest racing game of Gran Turismo on PlayStation, yeah, we can make that joke. Aku, what's going on? Everything sells like gangbusters on PlayStation until they announced they didn't. Well, you can look at that like with the movies, right? Oh, it's a great movie. It's doing fantastic. And then you're like, it didn't make money. They're like, yeah, but that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Roadkill says Xbox likes money, but didn't they just fire the Forza development team? Yeah, that's why they like money. I don't understand. You're saying Xbox like money, but didn't they just fire the Forza development team? Yeah, so they can keep more money. Yeah, add that together. Say that out loud again, Roadkill. Yeah, Xbox likes money. Correct. Yeah. So how do they make more money? They fired a bunch of people. Instant more cash. Aren't they completely independent now? So it's up to them if they want to do some random person on YouTube. PS5 blows says Xbox is selling like Astrobot. Roadkill says I found about 6 wheat pennies. So I'm having a blast, brother. Nice. Z says, when I bought my Series X, I got some hotcakes. Did you? Did they come with hotcakes? Ron says a Concord kart racing game would be cool. That would probably sell more than Astrobot, I think. Right, Ron? Oh, I kid. It wouldn't sell at all. Jack says, I made a decision when a studio will skip a platform, but market conditions is a new even there's 80 million sales on PlayStation 5 and 1.5 million sold. I wish them luck with that. Yeah, no matter how anyone can defend it, right? Astrobot Game of the Year, bravo, but PlayStation says Xbox doesn't buy games, but yet Astrobot Game of the Year, 1.5 70 million. Do you know what I mean? Eclipse says Florida Motorsports, that's a different branch. Well, regardless, Eclipse, what he's trying to say is they like money, but they fired people. Correct. That's why they fired them, so they can get more money. Game's already out. They already made the money on Forza Motorsports, and they just made minimum 4 million copies sold on PlayStation for Forza Horizon for Playground Games. Jack says the game was just on Steam, and they were complaining about bad reviews on Steam. For which game, Jax? No Rest for the Wicked? Mo says, I won my Series X. I kind of won my Series X because Game Pass, or sorry, because GameStop stock went up. So that's where I got my money for my console when I bought it. And that was what, 2021 when I got it. So I used the stock market money for that. Rokill says, didn't you just say for sold the best on PlayStation how they're going to do that if they fire the development team? Didn't you just say they sold the best on PlayStation? No. Okay. Let me slow it down for you. Okay. Forza Horizon 5 is a different studio than Forza Motorsports. Forza Horizon 5, which sold 4 million copies on PlayStation, outsold Astrobot, which is a 5-year-old game. What you're talking about is the people that lost their job in Forza Motorsports, which didn't sell well and is not, right? So these are two separate things. See, your hatred, or not even hatred, I shouldn't say hatred, your delusional thing just to troll, okay? You're saying shit that you don't even know what you're talking about. Astrobot only sold to PlayStation fanboys who wanted to go on to the nostalgia ride with their childhood IPs. That's fine. But to say that it sold so well and there's 70 million people and it only sold 1.5 million copies, then someone can move the goalpost. See, our goalpost is still blown up, right? Because they'd be like, oh, well, it's a niche game and it's meant for kids and it's doing all this stuff. You know, like you could move it all you want. But the facts are it only sold 1.5 million copies out of 7 million potential, 70 million people that could potentially buy it. Alabama says, do you sell coffee? No, I do not. I drink coffee. I'm drinking coffee right now. It's a nice blend. It's called I think it's called Summer Moon Mild. It's a company out of Texas, which we get over in Tampa area because they actually sell over there. I do sell an album. We have an album that we did, which makes fun of everybody and anybody in the gaming industry. The Forza Horizon and Astrobot comparisons are hilarious. I just like to bring up stuff, El Nini, because you all bring up the stupidest shit to have like console wars here and there. I just point out the facts. Astrobot sold 1.5 million, Game of the Year. Forza Horizon, I don't know if it was Game of the Year. Was it nominated for Game of the Year back 5 years ago? But regardless, a 5-year-old game on a separate console sold more than the Game of the Year. It's just funny. Travis says, 30, don't worry, it'll be correct when Fable flops, and they will close the whole studio. Okay? Here's the thing, Travis. I'm okay with shitty companies closing down. Like, that's how businesses work, right? You make a product, you make that product, and if that product is shitty, then you close down, right? Because why are we going to keep you open to make another shitty game, right? See, the people that like to buy games, we say if a company is good or bad, right? BioWare back in the day was good. BioWare now is bad. They're hanging on by a thread, okay? I don't want studios to close because I'm like, I want them to make a bad game. I just want a good game. And if you can't make a good game, guess what? You close down. Helldivers 2 won't even break 1 million on Xbox. I think it'll do better than you think. I think Helldivers 2 will do as good as Forza did on PlayStation. I would say about 3.5 to 4 million. I think will sell on Xbox. And as a PlayStation fanboy, El Nini, you would think you would want Helldivers to sell on Xbox. See, I think it will sell about 4 million copies. Right? Because PlayStation makes more money from the other developer, which is a smart business decision. When your market's tapped out, you have to go elsewhere to get more money. Ray says, will you make a vinyl for the album, like Astrobot because of the money? Yeah, no, I'm not going to make a vinyl. I'll tell you what, Ray, if I ever get 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, I will look into making a vinyl of the music that I've created. Okay? If I get 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, I will look into making vinyls. And guess what? It's not going to happen. Sarge, what's going on? Where are we? I'm late. We talked about PlayStation 5, we talked about No Rest for the Wicked, which is a Souls-like Diablo-style game, right? It's like a top-down Diablo-style game, but with like Souls type of mechanics, very hard. People that make Moon Studios, who makes Ori and the Wisp and the Blind Forest, they came out and said that we might not launch on Xbox the exact same time. They're coming out for all platforms, but they're only coming out for PlayStation and Switch 2 as of right now. It's on PC, those two other consoles, and they might miss Xbox because of the marketing and stuff like that. Ray says 3.5 is my number I have on for Xbox Helldivers. Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen, Ray. I would say between 3.5 and 4 is what I would say. Krebsy says, we're at the point people were being retarded, Sarge. That's the Cliff Note version. I should have went with Krebsy, what Krebsy said. Yeah. How much did we do in the PlayStation? Because I know PC carried the game. For what game, Mo? Jason says, I predict 2 million since it isn't on Game Pass. I predict 3.5 to 4 because it's a fun game. That's my prediction, Jason. Because Helldivers is such a fun game, and it respects your time, and it's just fun to play, I think there's 4 million people that will pick it up. I think people will pick it up even if they already own it for another system, if they own that system, just to show the company itself more support. Travis says, I'm predicting using my psychic powers, all Xbox systems explode with GTA 6, and there will be a lawsuit with Rockstar. I mean, do you want me to book it? That sounds like a big bookable prediction there, Travis. Oh, for Helldivers 2. Gotcha. I remember when I was on Lono's podcast when Helldivers 2 first came out, and we were talking about at the time when it first came out, they didn't know like the percentage of people, right? Obviously, we found out that there's way more people on PlayStation, almost 2 to 1, that bought it on PC over than PlayStation. And at the time on the podcast, I said I think it's about a 40, 60, 40, or if it was a 50 or like 45, whatever, 55, 45 type of thing. And people were like, this is bullshit. PlayStation's carry. And then it was told that PC had almost 2 to 1 of Helldivers on there. And then people were like, well, of course they did. And it's like, I don't understand. Like when I say something, people think I'm like hating on PlayStation. No, I'm just stating facts. I'm just stating facts. More people bought it on PC than PlayStation. I'm not saying it didn't sell well on PlayStation. I'm just saying more people bought it on PC. PlayStation 5, PS5 blows says pony narrative gets weirder and weirder the less games Sony make. I see. I'm not really following. I don't follow the stuff. What are they saying? Like, are you just talking about the people in chat that are saying shit? Like right now, PS5 blows. Like, is there a narrative out there that people are just making weird shit? I will link my Steam Helldivers to PlayStation account so I can transfer my saves on Xbox. I hope. Did they say you can move your saves over? Because I'll be honest with you, I will pick it up because I would like to play. Like, I would let my son play that game, Helldivers 2, right? And since I have it on PC, he can't play it, right? Well, I can't play with him, so I would pick it up for Xbox so he could play, right? But can I move? Have they said anything yet? Can I move my save file, or do I have to start from scratch? Travis says, "Oh yeah, Lono's saying that Helldivers 2 won't sell at all. Xbox, he said, not even more than 50K. I think you're underestimating it. I think a lot of people that are dual console owners, or they own a PC / other console, I think they'll pick it up for it. One, because it's like the same mentality when someone wants something to do good, and like for instance, Superman. People are going to the movies 2, 3, 4 times to watch it because they want that number. They feel like they have something. They're trying to help it get past a certain number and stuff like that, right? That's fandom. And I think there's a lot of people that are fans of Arrowhead, right? They've earned their respect for what the game they made, right? They might not like Sony, but they like Arrowhead. And since Arrowhead can basically make their next game and do their own thing that they've talked about, they might support that. Even though Sony gets that money, right? They get a percentage of it. I think a lot of people are for Arrowhead right now. And I think a lot of people will either pick it up a second copy or they'll buy it just to help the company out. August 26th will be the good time for all multiplayer gaming. Gears of War for PlayStation 5 and Helldivers for Xbox. Yeah, it's what, 26th and the 29th, or is it the same day? Is it the same day or Ray says, I will not buy Helldivers 2 on Xbox if I can't save my progress. Yeah, if I can't move it over, I don't want to start over. That goes for any game. I don't want to start over. Hell, I had a conversation with Z the other day when we had it for lunch. I was like, I might have to start over with Atomfall. I played the game. I'm like 40, 50 hours into it. I don't know if I want to start over. I'm not that type of gamer. I don't go through a game multiple times. Very, very rarely do I go through a game multiple times. Okay? And I like that game. I don't know if I would buy Helldivers 2 if I can't progress my save. Now, I would buy Helldivers 2 regardless if my son was interested and so he could play with me. Eclipse says, it's funny that people say that Xbox people don't buy games, but because they have Game Pass, they have more money to buy games. You see how that works? Water Bear says, Helldivers 2 will sell on Xbox. My buddy's playing on Xbox, and they are all grabbing it. That's a good 10 or so copies. Well, there you go. That's 10 copies. That's 10. 10 copies. At least 10 copies will be sold just because of Water's friends. Helldivers 2 will sell. It's a good game and will do well on Xbox. Yeah, see, I think people don't look at it as being, oh, it's a PlayStation game on Xbox. No, it's a good game. Helldivers 2 is a good game. Good games should sell. What's going on, Stealth? Good to see you, man. Why not buy it on Xbox? If you do, you'll be able to have cross-play and cross-progression across the Xbox infrastructure. I just don't know if I want to start over with my character. Right? I'm like level 60 or 70 or whatever the hell it is. Sarge says not starting over. Respect players' time. Krebsy says intelligence has left the chat today. Well, I know my intelligence is a little lower today, Krebsy, because I have sleep deprivation over here because I didn't sleep last night. 2.5 hours of sleep. Fixing fences and building shit in the middle of the night. All right, let's move on over to the next story, which is going to hurt my brain, which is Battlefield 6. Right, Battlefield 6 open beta includes play tests with classic specific weapons or class specific weapons. Okay. Stealth says Google says you got to start over. That's a bummer. That's a bummer. I'll be honest. If they fix that and say that you don't have to start over and it comes over, they would sell more copies, 100%. But because you have to start over, it's going to hurt it. I still think it's going to sell 3.5 to 4. All right. If you guys like what I do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning until noon Eastern. We just have conversations, talk about news stories, give you my thoughts and opinions, and I get your thoughts and opinions in live chat. Battlefield 6 open beta, including playlist with classic. Let me start again. My brain's not here today. Battlefield 6 open beta, including playlist with class-specific weapons. Okay. Battlefield 6 open beta will include options for players to play with open weapons or closed weapons, the latter offering more classic Battlefield experience. I think, obviously, as a test, totally get it. They want to see. They're like, hey, well, if we do our way is that they want the open instead of the closed weapons. They want the open weapons. They're like, if we do our way, a lot of people are probably not going to want to play the game. So let's put the old system in there with our new system and see which one people lean to more, because they want to push their open weapon system onto the player base. But the player base is telling them, don't do it. We want the closed system, like Sarge was talking about on GXG the other night, right? So I don't want what was in Battlefield 2042. I want what was in Battlefield back in the day. If they're going back to boots on the ground, going back to the traditional Battlefield, then get rid of what you're talking about here. Despite receiving significant pushback from the community, imagine that, on a freedom of with weapon types, regardless of class, the system remains in place for the new title. But there will also be options available for those who prefer more classic experience. If you have both of them in the game, let's say they do this and they leave it in the game, what's the point? What's the point, right? What is the point to have both of them in the game? Because I choose to give player choice? No. Decide what you want in this game. Decide. Let us know. Do you want the open class or do you want the closed class? Now, obviously, they're testing it out here, and they're going to figure that out. Hopefully. Okay? The choice will come to via the playlist options, putting players in an experience with like-minded players who want the same experience. It has been announced. Oh, great. So they're going to do closed, and then this is the closed thing over in this server, and this is the open thing in this server. That won't hurt the game in the long run. If they keep it like that for when the game launches, they've already lost. They've already lost because now you're separating the old school players from the new school players, the people that want Battlefield and the people that don't give a shit about Battlefield. Okay, you're separating them for Battle Royale. You're separating them for Rush mode. You're separating them for Conquest mode. You're separating them for the Extraction mode. You're separating them for the Portal mode, whatever they're doing. Okay, so now you're taking the player base that's, you don't even know if you have a player base left, to be honest with you. Okay, and now you're separating them even more, right? You're drawing a line down the middle and going, people that like old Battlefield, come on this side. People that like new Battlefield that don't give a shit about the actual Battlefield, go on this side. Okay, so your choice will come via options, putting players in the experience with like-minded players who want to say the experience has been announced. Battlefield 6 open beta playlist options. The news came via the post of formerly, can we stop Insider Gaming? Formerly Twitter. It's been 2 fucking years. Can we just call it X, please? For the official Battlefield account, which played into the open weapons versus closed weapons debate with a why not both outcome chosen for Battlefield 6. Okay? Why not both? Pick a side. This shouldn't be a you ever been in a relationship? I'm like, it's either you, it's either that person or me. It's like, all right. Right? How dare you pick? Like, don't let us pick. Just choose. Choose. It's like Indiana Jones: The Last Crusade. All those chalices are in front of him. He's like, choose wisely. Right? And then when you choose, he goes, he chose poorly. Right? Battlefield right now, EA right now, has got 2 chalices in front of him. And they're like, which one do we pick? The one for the old guys or the one for the new guys? And we know which one they're going to pick. Okay? And then they'll blame it on everybody else. Okay? So in the announcement, it was confirmed that players can choose official playlist with signature weapons locked to class or not. Adding that, there was also more to come on the news. So the approach would favor players on both sides of the argument, adding options that appeal to both, though it remains to be seen which options will be favored by the majority of the community and which options Battlefield 6 decides which is the core system. And that is the problem, right? Because they don't know what to do. They know what they want to do. They want to choose the new system. They want to choose the open system. But the true Battlefield fans like the old system. Hence why Battlefield 2042 sucked at launch because of much more things. The game wasn't complete. It was broke, buggy, unfinished. Okay? Didn't have class systems. It had an open class system. And now, down the road, they patched it where you could get class systems. And people were like, yeah, we like this better, but we still didn't like it because they didn't choose. They didn't go full. They were like, well, you can still choose if you want to, right? Shit or get off the pot, right? Shit or get off the pot. A controversial move away from class-specific weapons first occurred in Battlefield 2042, with the approach remaining for Battlefield 6 despite its unpopularity, right? They're like, why do they want to push this so hard? Let's think of this. Why does EA want to push that system so much where it failed in 2042, but they're doing it again? Why, chat? Why do they want to do it that way? Well, it's because of microtransactions and all this other stuff. Because if they close off certain things, people won't buy or get skins for certain guns. So it all has to do with monetization on the back end. All right. The option to play with classic format, however, is an outcome that should suit all players. A game for everybody is a game for nobody. Further details should be around the corner, with Insider Gaming exclusively reporting that the full reveal for Battlefield 6 is set for July 31st. So what is that, next week sometime? And in a COD Next style event, which came on the back end of the content creators being sent care packages. So how do you feel about the option to play with class-specific weapons in Battlefield 6? Let us know your thoughts, right? Again, I'm an old school, long-time fan of Battlefield. I loved Battlefield. From the very beginning, I've played every single Battlefield. I've owned every single Battlefield except Hardline, because that's not a Battlefield game. Okay? And this is not Battlefield. Battlefield 2042 was not Battlefield. It was Call of Duty. Hardline was the first game that they put into the series that tried to be Call of Duty, and they've been chasing Call of Duty ever since. And they're still chasing Call of Duty. By their own accord, they're talking about making a Battlefield, Battle Royale, all this stuff. They're chasing. They're chasing Fortnite. They're chasing Warzone. They're chasing these things. In the same sentence, they're saying that we're going back to its roots. Well, the roots of Battlefield is not Call of Duty. Sorry. It's also not Modern Warfare. It's World War II, Battlefield 1940, right? 1942. Okay? That is the beginning of it all. That's the roots. Not the Modern Warfare, not the other stuff. So when they say going back to the roots, they think the roots for them is the one that sold the most, which is Battlefield, I believe, 3. I think that sold like 17 million, where Battlefield 4 sold 14 million. So obviously, this looks like more like Battlefield 3. all the stuff they're trying to do is they're also trying to keep the microtransactions and monetization parts in there. And if they go to the class-specific stuff, they can't get that much money out of it. So they have to go with the open system to get the more people as possible. And their mentality is, if we want to hit that 100 million players, okay, which they've never done in the entire franchise, right? They think that they're going to make the next Call of Duty. But nobody wants the next Call of Duty from Battlefield. They just want the next Battlefield. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think in the live chat. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. All right, let me see what you guys are saying here. Robert Jones says even the closed system won't be closed. It'll be in the Battlefield 4 system, which I'm cool with. Class specific is great. Battlefield 1 is the most played Battlefield right now. Yeah. This is why Battlefield is bulls and also never beat COD in sales. Stupid system. War is bullshit. It never beat it because of the type of game it was. Right? It was a team-based game. It's a larger scale, more group mentality. Where if you look at Call of Duty, it was always about the kill streaks. It was always about, the flyover, the noob tubing and stuff like that. That's what Call of Duty was. That's why I personally didn't like Call of Duty. Because original Call of Duty, right, not until Modern Warfare did it start doing that with the kill streaks and stuff like that, right? The original Call of Duties, they had systems in place, but it felt more like a war game, right? You're playing together. But then it turned into a solo match type of thing where you're on a team, but no one's playing together. Everyone's just trying to get their kill streak up. Battlefield's never been about that. Yes, there's people that have the most kills, but it's about capturing points. It's about working as a team, winning, not individual medals. You know what I mean? That's the difference between Battlefield and Call of Duty. And obviously, Call of Duty is much more popular. And Battlefield's looking to do that. You know why people like Hell Let Loose? Hell Let Loose is popular. Now, obviously, is it Call of Duty popular? No. Is it Battlefield popular? No. It's popular with the people that like that style of game. They know what they are. They keep Hell Let Loose, okay? They keep it like that because they know that's their fan base. That's the people that are interested in the game. All right, let me scroll back up again. Jason says, yeah, I know Snake Eater was too hard for you. Okay, Robert Jones says, even in the closed system, I already read that. PS5 Blow says, class specific is great. I want COD fans to switch over. Or they want COD fans to switch over. COD fans won't switch over, and you know why? Because COD is a better game for those types of players. To think that you're going to come out with a game to pull them, right, is not going to happen. They'll come over for the short period. But they also invested way much money into the Call of Duty. They have way much more time into Call of Duty. And guess what? The next Call of Duty is coming out. Next Call of Duty is coming out. There's overlap, but majority of Battlefield fans don't like COD. Majority of Call of Duty fans don't like Battlefield, but there is a little crossover. Like if you draw two circles, okay? You draw two circles next to each other, that centerpiece, there's overlap. But the majority of the people don't like this, and this majority doesn't like that. What's going on, Argus? Travis says, my thoughts are simple, 30. As someone who only just got into Battlefield, easy come, easy go. I mean, this might be the first... Well, actually, Battlefield 2042 was the first Battlefield I didn't buy. And Battlefield 6 might be the first one that I don't play. Right? I didn't buy Battlefield 2042. I played the early access. Okay? And I played it on Game Pass a year later when it came out, or whatever, 14 months after it came out. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't Battlefield, and they had to do so many fixes over 18 months. Okay, this might be the first game that I don't even play. I don't want to say I'm not going to play it, but I'm pretty sure I might not play it because I just don't like what they're doing. The Battle Royale is more of a problem to me than the class system, by the way. Putting a Battle Royale into Battlefield is more of an issue for me than the class-specific thing. Let's see. There's also an old guy that snipes in Battlefield. He doesn't do the capturing stuff, just snipes you for fun. Right, but that's part of the team. That's part of the team. You don't need to go capture a part. So I used to play with a big squad. Big squad. We had the same people, ex-military guys. Literally my whole channel, my whole gamer tag, 30 and Still Gaming, all started from Battlefield. We used to play Battlefield all the time. And we were looking for people to join. The internet's not what the internet is today, okay, when I was doing it. And LFGs were a thing. Looking for a group. You would make a post, you put it on there. And my title was Battlefield, Bad Company, 30 and Still Gaming. Because I didn't want to play with squeakers. Okay? I didn't want to play with squeakers. Right? I'm 47 right now. Right? Am I 47? Yeah, I'm 47. Okay? And I made 30 and Still Gaming when I was 29 because I wanted people that were 30 and Still Gaming, more mature gamers to play the game with us. So when we played Battlefield, we were with a squad that knew what they were doing. We had our snipers on the team. We had our guys that capture flags. I was the guy that went in and planted the system, right, in rush mode. I was the person that pushed in and gave where everyone was. I would sneak in. I would play the way I want to play while someone else is playing their way. Right? That is the great part about Battlefield because you're working together as a team. That's not what Call of Duty is. Crowded House says no zombies and complete buzzkill. Travis says, "30. You know what we really need is a good sci-fi first-person shooter. Recommend bring back Killzone or Resistance." Argus says COD is a cesspool right now. Not because of the players, but because of the game. Toxic players are a staple of Call of Duty since the beginning, so that is welcome trash. COD games aren't. Roic says, if you can't play something, even when you don't have to pay for it, it says a lot about it. Sarge says, bro, cue the Phil Collins song. I don't care anymore. Argus says, having a good sniper is a support role that helps you capture the points that themselves don't have to be on the point. Exactly. It's 100%. Yeah, that was the pin. Looking back at the time, we didn't know we had the best at that moment, Sarge. Looking back all these years later, I miss those times, man. I miss those times. Krebsy says, for the average Joe, the difference between COD and Battlefield is Battlefield has larger maps, larger teams, bullet drop, vehicles, worse gunplay. Yeah, but when you say worse gunplay, the gunplay is not that much worse, right? Like, it's minuscule. But the larger maps and the vehicles and all the other stuff that you can do, that's the selling point for Battlefield. Aku says, sniping is great strategy when you use it well. The guys I used to play with had a sniper squads, myself included. You're also engaging 800 meters on the average, and we held back reinforcements and called movements. If you play Hell Let Loose, they have a sniper team, but there's only 2 snipers on the team and 2 spotters with the snipers. So it's a small group, 2 sniper groups. That's it. That's the entire job. Not the entire team snipers sitting back shooting, right? Hell Let Loose does it correct. They're like, sniper's job is you have a lookout. He's communicating with the team. The team knows what it is. Sniper's there to protect him for the lookout, right? He's there to visualize what's happening, and he's also there to protect the scout is there to help the sniper shoot people, right, to tell them where they are, and the sniper's there to protect the guy looking for stuff to transmit back to the rest of the team. That's what it's for. If you have a good sniper on your team, the entire time you're pushing RB, RB, RB. You're spotting everybody because you don't communicate the same in Battlefield. Right? That's like saying, oh, well, the guys that get in the planes, all they do is stay in the planes. Yeah. Because they're awesome at flying, and that's what they do. Ray says, I made more points by being a spotter than an active player. Yeah. Argus says, Mike, I used to exclusively snipe in Battlefield Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3, and Battlefield 4 was the only class I played in those games. Maxed out the first always. Yeah, that's what I did. I played sniper, and I would switch from sniper, and I would go to support. Then as it evolved, because no one wanted to be a fucking medic, I would be a medic. But I would also push. I would always push. PS5 says Battlefield Bad Company 2 and Battlefield 3 was peak. Yeah, agreed. 2142 I liked. You know, I actually liked MAG back in the day with the larger scale. Wasn't as good, but 2142 was also was good. Not great. It was good. Hell, BattleBit remastered, okay? That's more Battlefield than Battlefield right now. Right? They get it. Regardless of the graphics, they get the gameplay. They understand what it's supposed to be. Aka says people don't know what a sniper's job is. They just assume that we camp, but the camping is what's letting people know where to push. Not only where to push, but saving people's asses. And they're like, oh, they're not even doing anything. And they're like, no one's pushing. If you happen to be on a random team, and you spawn in and you have 3 snipers on your team and you're the only one pushing up and you're dying because no one's helping you because you're not communicating with the snipers and you're on a random team, you're not even playing Battlefield. Okay? Meanwhile, when everyone else is playing on a team, I mean, we've played together, Aku, right? We're communicating, we're talking where people are, okay? That's a completely different thing. And if I'm sniping, I'm like, hey, there's a guy to your right, guy to the left, guy on the mountain, guy on top of the roof, right? That's the whole point. But people are like, I don't want to talk. They have a microphone. They're on a team, but they don't want to talk because it's toxic. Because they're used to Call of Duty toxic. Ray says in Battlefield, there's also come crazy medics that also keep the whole battalion alive. Yeah, it's me. I will sacrifice my body to raise someone else. Argus says, yeah, I'm almost exclusively playing medic now. No one likes to do it. So I choose that. I will. Yeah, exactly right. That's exactly what I do. Exactly what I do. I think I used to play a game called Battlefield 1942. Yeah, that's the first one. That's the first one. Battlefield 1943 was an arcade type of style. It was only on Xbox, and that was an excellent game. It was a smaller portion of the game, but it was really, really good. It's like Wake Island. It was like 3 islands, I think. Elnady says same with Halo Roblox, or yeah, Roblox. The more Halo, it's more Halo than Halo Infinite. I mean, I can agree with that. I was bored with Halo Infinite. I was like, this is. I liked some of the stuff they did in Halo Infinite, but I wasn't a big fan of it. Waterbear says, so 30, you love playing tanks and healers and MMOs, huh? I used to play, so when I played in World of Warcraft, I used to play a hunter. But I like, most of the time, I like playing tanks. I like getting up in the people's faces and holding it and taking the damage and stuff like that. Yeah, that's what I like. When I play first-person shooters, I love sniping. It goes sniping, right? It goes sniping, and then it goes support, or I should say sniping, medic, support. I used to love playing like the helicopter pilot, transporting people, dropping them off, collecting the point and stuff like that. When we get into a tank, me and Sarge wreck. Aku says 30. It's all Sony players. I don't have a mic. Shut the fuck up. There's a mic on your controller. Yeah. I don't have a mic. They don't want to talk. They just don't want to talk. All right. Let's go from that. Hold on one second. Cody says, I asked ChatGPT questions. What percentage of Battlefield players communicate? And same, but with Call of Duty, ChatGPT says 10 to 25% of Battlefield communicate and 25 to 45% for COD. How would it know that, though? How would that know that, though, Krebsy? Because from personal experience, when I play COD, no one speaks. When I played COD. Now, obviously, it's fucking 14 years ago when I actually played, okay? When I play Battlefield, there's constant people always talking. How would it measure that? Dolphin says, I played with a kid yesterday who's used a PlayStation 5 controller. Mike, Jesus. Fuck, it was insufferable. Oh, yeah, because it picks up everything. It picks up everything. Oh, I would have to look at our friends list. He's still on my friends list, Sarge. I forget his name. Was it Life something? No, it was I would have to look it up. If I saw the name, it would just hit me and go, oh, that's him. Ron says, nothing like a microphone with a crying baby in the background. Oh no, a bag of chips, the garbage truck with the window open with the fire detector beeping because it needs a new battery. Yeah, nothing beats that. Lucky. That's it. It was Lucky. I knew it started with an L. Yeah, it's Lucky. So they got to define communication. Marking soldiers counts as comms to me. That's true. I just want to know how would ChatGPT know that? Like, how would they measure the percentage of people that communicate? That's all I was asking. I'm not saying it's bullshit or not. I'm just saying, how would it measure that? All right, we got the PlayStation thing, or Rest for No Wicked. We got Battlefield. All right, the next one, we have a video here by Bueller News. It says, the game collapse killed another Expedition 33. Okay. So let's bring that up. All right. Link is in the description. Yeah, Lucky was it, Sarge. That was it. All right, so links in the description. If you like to go to his video, give it a like, give it a dislike, give a comment, watch the video yourself. We're going to pause a lot and talk about whatever he's talking about. So here we go.
A lot of people are mad, and rightly so, because 300 grand of their Kickstarter money is amounting to nothing.
Radiant Echoes, a vibrant tribute to JRPG classics, 294,428. They only need 100,000, 5,000 backers. I always hated, I funded a couple games on Kickstarter back in the day, right? Albion Online was one of the games I funded back then. And obviously it got successful and went through and whatnot. A lot of people was Star Citizen was I'd never funded it, but it was on Kickstarter. It's the biggest Kickstarter ever. So I'm always very skeptical of like certain things that happen. The only reason Albion Online really intrigued me was because they were doing it back then when they first did it, was because they were putting the game on iPads and iPhones back in the day, and that was unheard of back then. So I was like, oh, you could play it on PC, you could play it, and as soon as you funded it, you got a key to play. Now they've changed the entire game of Albion Online, where it's you're paying for stuff, because I bought it for like 3 or 4 years. You could just play it, but then they changed the business model, and that's when I stopped playing. But Kickstarter is always a hit or miss, right? Hit or miss. Real quick, Krebsy says, data source and methods, industry surveys, reports. 2, development comments. And 3, telemetry insights. 3, player forums and also community analyst. 4, streamer gameplay. Observation 5, and academic papers. Okay. Well, then add number 6, 30's experience. 30's experience that nobody talks in Call of Duty, besides saying, like, you know, kiss my nuts, right? That's basically what they say in COD. Or they're really small kids, and they start cursing at you because, it sounds like a mouse cursing at you, though.
But that is actually not the real story of today's video. It's about 2 games and 1 formula. A formula that, listening to, say, Jeff Keighley at Summer Games Fest, is the big new thing. Now, one of these games has become gaming's darling, rightly so. The other one has actually just collapsed and died. So here's what's happening. Clair Obscura Expedition 33 has succeeded, and now everybody wants to replicate that magic.
Well, of course. Who doesn't want to replicate what Expedition 33 is? Just like when Baldur's Gate 3 came out and everyone started writing reports, don't expect this from the industry. Don't expect an actual good game from the industry, right? This year, okay, Expedition 33 is the Baldur's Gate 3, but in this genre now.
Formula, and that is a small team, ex-AAA talent, and a love of JRPGs. But, apply to whatever game you want to make. But here's the thing. In the very same month that Expedition 33 dropped, another game was revealed with an eerily...
Oh, this game. Yeah, I wasn't interested in this game. I was like, it looks good, but I'm not interested in this. I didn't like the art style.
...familiar setup. A small French team with many ex-Ubisoft developers...
Hold on a second. What did that say?
...familiar setup. A small...
Headquartered in France, is a video game development studio founded in 2021 out of love of JRPGs. We want to bring the modernity of the genre through themes, gameplay, and worlds experience, and new players alike. We've driven the progression, values, empathy, and kindness, emphasized on the showing how great games can be made in a sustainable way. Well, that didn't age well, huh? That didn't age well.
French team, with many ex-Ubisoft developers making their dream JRPG.
A former Ubisoft dev who wants to bring back the golden age of JRPGs. We talked to CEO Emma Delage about the community's hunger for JRPGs and why Kickstarter could be a viable path for studio debut project. Again, that didn't age well, and that was May 14th of 2024.
Just that unlike Expedition 33, that game is now dead. The studio
is shutting down. Sincere apologies and an explanation. Well, that didn't age very well, huh? We're going to make a game. We're going to do a whole bunch of stuff. We're going to show how the industry is different. Oh, by the way, we can't afford it, and we got to close down.
It was liquidated, and the crowdfunding backers are furious. So what the hell happened? Why did this formula fail? Even though, when you look at it, the game really does look quite good. I'll give you a hint.
I think it does look good, or I should say, it did look good, but I just didn't like the style myself.
And here's a map of Expedition.
Kelpers Interactive publisher, Sandfall Interactive developer, distribution, community media, Clair Obscura 33, Bandai Namco, Maximum Entertainment, IGN, GameSpot, etc. Okay.
33's Connect really does look quite good. I'll give you a hint. Here's a map of Expedition 33's connections. It's a lot of work. That's a lot
of connections. That's a lot of connections. It's who you know.
A lot of chatter. That couldn't have been easy. And it's not to put them down. They're an absolutely amazing team. Their game is an unbelievable banger.
Well, here's the thing. Remember, Expedition 33 was ex-developers from Ubisoft, right? And they made connections in the industry. Now, I don't know the person that started the company, what his actual resume is, but he's been in the industry for a couple years. So he's made the connections. Now, obviously, if he just started in the industry, Expedition 33 probably wouldn't be as good as it is. But because he worked for Ubisoft, got some experience underneath his belt, right? Met people, met connections, met other artists that were just as passionate as him, made connections, and then made Expedition 33. And that's why it's good.
And it's not like they just found a golden pot of money. Not only do they have a killer team, it very much seems that in Kepler, they found an exceptional publisher, one who, seeing them as an amazing team, decided
Are we on normal? Yeah, we're on normal.
To back them as much as they could. Everyone won. The team won, the publisher won, and we won. It's exactly what we want to see. A publisher really acing its job. But today, you're going to see the other side of that survivorship bias, and even how a sector of games funding has fallen, literally, this is not hyperbole, has fallen by billions of dollars. Yeah, it doesn't get...
Yeah, but Argus, the difference... Argus says, Mike, ex-developer at Ubisoft that were clearly the actual talent, because that Ubisoft actually puts out now is garbage. Yeah, but there's so many people at Ubisoft working on a game, right? So to have a person that, let's say 5 people out of 2,000 people are just excellent at what they do, you would never find that talent, because they're just a number in a cubicle doing the thing, right? Maybe the manager that was in the lead of that position never gave them the opportunity to show how good they were, because to them, they're just a person making the game type of thing, right? So I think there's talent everywhere. You just have to find it. And I've used this analogy before. A basketball team, everyone that's in the NBA, and I'll use NBA because it's a smaller team, but you can do it for any sports analogy. But anyone that's in the NBA are the top of the top. They're the best of the best that are in the league, and they've all made it, and they're the best. Okay? Even the worst guy on the team is 1,000 times better than anybody else. He made it to the big game, right? Made it to the actual league. Well, you can have certain people on a team, and they just don't gel. They just don't gel. They just don't understand each other. They just don't get along. Something's awry, okay? But then you remove one person off the court, and you place another person on the court, and all of a sudden, the other 4 people that didn't gel with that other guy all of a sudden gel with this guy, right? And now the team is working together. So it's really hard when you have 2,000 people making a video game to find the people that gel together, because there's so many combinations of people in the wrong place, not getting the shot they want. But when they make their own studio and there's 33 people, that's much more manageable, and they all know what they want. They all have the same vision. They're all the same thing. Now, I'm not saying there's not some sort of, pushback, or maybe they don't get along, but it's much easier for 33 people to figure out what the fuck they're doing than 2,000 people.
Talked about, most people don't even know. Meet Alzara Radiant Echoes. It's a 2024 Kickstarter project from Studio Camellia. They were a global team of ex-Ubisoft and indie devs who set out to make their...
Like, even this, right? I was just thinking, right? Because Sarge just says small teams work better. They can, to each other, communicate with each other, right? I don't have to send an email to another studio across the ocean and wait for a reply. I don't have to do anything. I can literally just, hey, I was thinking about this. Right? And working together. Even Larian Studios with 300 employees, they work together well because they all know what they're trying to do.
Their dream game, they say, vibrant tribute to JRPG classics, specifically to Golden Sun and Final Fantasy X. Obviously, FF10 was a humongous inspiration for Expedition 33, and of course also to the best JRPG of all time, Lord of the Rings: The Third Age. And even better, they managed to secure Motoi Sakuraba for the soundtrack. Now, he is a big name in this genre. Yes, in JRPGs, you may also know him for this little tune that's called Firelink Shrine from Dark Souls. So you've heard his work. And looking at the game, it's a very distinct art style, based in southern France. It looks gorgeous. And if they were to pitch this game today, you would half expect them to just say, hey, we're the next Expedition 33. Money us now. Of course, over on Kickstarter, people seem to like it. They donated over 300,000 euros.
Here's the thing I don't like about Kickstarter, okay? Once they break over the number, so if my goal is $100,000 and they make that $100,000, they've made their goal, and now they have your money. If they don't make their goal, everyone gets back their money. Okay? But once they get their goal, nobody gets back their money because now they've passed the goal. So now they can go, oh, well, we gave you a art book, or we gave you a trailer, or we gave you whatever. Do you know what I mean? So now they can just basically you're screwed. You're shit out of luck because now they have your money and now you're not going to get a product. It's bad. It's worse than paying a game, buying a game that's in early access, beta, whatever. You paid $30, paid 40, 60 bucks, even a game that's gold and it's broke, buggy, and unfinished, right? You paid money and you get nothing. Argus, thank you very much for the 18 months support. Appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Euro, and that is far beyond the campaign's €100,000 target. It was easily one of 2024's most successful Kickstarter campaigns. Yeah, fast forward a year, and here we are with development being over. The studio broke the news via Kickstarter update, and it is a grim situation. So basically, they ran out of money, they entered liquidation April 28th, and nothing is going to be released.
So wait a minute. Hold up a second. They knew they weren't going to make it, and they were still taking money on Kickstarter. Bro.
The studio broke the news via Kickstarter update, and it is a grim situation. So basically, they ran out of money, they entered liquidation April 28th, and nothing is going to be released beyond the demo trailer, which, we can all go and watch and feel sad about. Unsurprisingly, the Kickstarter backers were bloody well furious.
Another scam. Thank you, Kickstarter, for not protecting us. Collect your gains and allow tons of companies to scam people. This is the 4th pledge of 6 in the last year that ran away with my money. It is our fault. Well, I'm going to tell you, Gabrielle, you should take your money. I don't know where you are in the world. You should take the money you're going to put towards this game, and you should invest it in some sort of stock, savings, something that you're getting your money back. Because by the time you would have funded this game, okay, and then when the game came out, you would have had enough money to purchase the actual game if it came out. You have to look at some companies, right? And it's the companies, and this goes along with a lot of things that's happening in the industry just itself. Like when someone, who did this recently? What was his name? Boogie, right? The Boogie 129, whatever his name is, right? Where he said he had cancer. That diminishes people that actually have cancer. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the same thing here. People that make a game, sell a game, and there's people that come along, they're like, hey, we're making a game, and then they fuck it. They fuck it over for everybody else. You're like, it looks bad on the industry. It looks bad for independent developers. It looks bad, right? Because you're coming out and saying that you have something, and then you don't fulfill it. You're a liar, right? You took someone's money and didn't give them shit. Tell me in another world. This is why I don't really like Kickstarter, because there is no protection once it hits its goal. Okay? They have your money, and they don't have to give you a product. They don't give you a product. As long as they don't hit their goal, and you're like, oh, they failed, you get your money back. They don't get the money, you get your money back, no harm, no foul. But once they hit that target goal, man, it's bullshit.
They had seen polished trailers for this game, and in a way, it's almost a victim of looking so good. When you look at the trailers, it really does look like a fully formed vision that looks amazing. And
Travis says, bro, if that happened to me even once, that site would be done. And said site. Travis, you saying that is so hypocritical. So hypocritical. Come on, bro. You have to see what you just typed. And that same examples, it happened to you. And you're still supporting the company that did it to you. You have to see what you just wrote, right? That whole thing you wrote is bullshit.
people believed in the 2026 release date. These are people who thought they were backing a real game. And the thing is, they were, but they may not have understood all of the intricacies of the funding. Basically, funding goal succeeded 3 times over. Obviously, the game is going to come out.
I've funded like 14 things on Kickstarter back in the demo, and I got screwed over on like 4 of them.
Now, Camellia did make it worse. They had late backing remain open.
Okay, late pledge closure. The Kickstarter campaign ended 6 months ago. The backers who missed the campaign were still able to support it through late pledges. A huge thank you to everyone that pledged during the after the campaign. The support means the world to us. Bro. Late pledgers will no longer be available after February 17th, but didn't they already know by that time? Hold on a second. No, it doesn't say there. All right.
They were, but they may not have understood all of the intricacies of the funding. Basically, funding goal succeeded 3 times over.
I violated TOS. It's on me. However you want to cope with it, dude. However you want to cope. It's your money. It's your shit. But you saying that you wouldn't support something, I don't give a shit if it's TOS or not. They took everything away from you, and you're still supporting them. So that sentence you wrote is 100% bullshit.
Obviously, the game is going to come out. Now, Camellia did make it worse. They had late backing remain open until February, which very much made it look like, in hindsight, you guys probably saw the writing on the wall, yet you were still taking people's money. And then by the time they communicated, it seems the whole thing is beyond saving. The company's in liquidation. But more than anything, this is the real disconnect. That the public gave them 300,000 euros, so how could they not deliver? How much does an indie game actually cost? So 300,000 euro is serious money, but it's also nowhere near enough for this game, the game that they planned. It is not enough, not even close.
Yeah, $300,000 is nowhere near enough to make a game, right? And here's the worst part. There was another story we did a couple of months ago, right, where they said they needed a certain amount of money, but the certain amount of money was where they used it for a demo instead of actually using the money towards the actual game. What game was that? I forget what we talked about. That was like 2 months ago we talked about that.
Now, their closure announcement did reveal a timeline where we see the development started in 2021. It was funded by personal savings, by Microsoft grants, and by Angel.
So these guys took grants and stuff from Microsoft. The studio was officially created in May of 2022. The journey began nearly 4 years ago. From the very start, we fought tirelessly to bring Dream to life. We're constantly seeking funding. We started the studio with personal savings and managed to convince business angels, banks, and institutions who believed in our vision support. We also even had honor to be accepted by the Microsoft Developer Accelerator. So this is just bad business model. This is not bad business model. This is bad upper management. Imagine, again, bad management in a company trying to take money to make a video game. How do you have it for 4 years? Get all of this money from angel investors, from institutions, from grants, from people, and you still have nothing.
Investors. And those funds took them to basically half of their budgeted development cost.
With all the support we had, half the development of the game covered, and only needed to secure the other half through industry partner. However, as we know, the video game industry is currently going through crisis. Many studios have been forced to close due to lack of funding. Over 20,000 workers have lost their jobs. Investors are now operating in a market where taking risks is discouraged, and they can afford to wait before committing to a project in order to reduce risk. Here's the thing. Nobody cares. Here's the thing. Nobody cares. If I start a business, right? If I start a business and I open up and my rent is this much and my supplies are this much and my staffing is this much, I don't care as a customer. I don't care as a customer. Make a game, sell a game. Make a donut, sell a donut. Make a movie, sell a movie. You decided you wanted to make a game. You decided you wanted to do a business. You decided to take the risk to make a video game because you had dreams. You had passion of, I'm going to make this. This is going to be a successful game, and I'm going to be rich. I'm going to make money from this, and how am I going to get there? Now, never use your own money. They put their money into it, and then they went beyond that money. They went to investors. They went beyond that money. They went into grants. They went beyond that money, and they went into now getting people from Kickstarter. This was people, might as well work for Bungie. These are people that don't know how to manage money. They just kept taking money, kept taking money. They're like, we'll pay it later. We'll pay it later. Keep swiping. Keep swiping that credit card. We'll pay later. The risk will pay off.
Costs. And of course, that's just development costs. There's also marketing and all the other things that they would need. So the studio did what indies do. They went to crowdfunding, and not just for the money, but to show investor interest. You see, whenever you see Kickstarters, what I want you to keep in mind is that they're almost all, well, very often anyway, not anywhere near the full budget for a game. And to better understand this...
You know what I like who's doing stuff? I bring him up every once in a while. Okay? Eric July, who owns Rippaverse. Okay? When he did his first comic of Isom, people thought it was a Kickstarter. And he had to come out and tell you, no, it's not Kickstarter. It's just a pre-order. It's his own pre-order site. You can go to his site and you could sell the copy of he sells the copy of the comic, and he's just showing interest. He's already printed them. He just needs to know how many he's printing. He wants to know his consumers up front. It's already made. It's already done. The comic's made. It's done. The book is done. Then he's like, let's sell it. So instead of opening a storefront, and then going, hey, do you have that new Isom copy? Goes direct to customer, says, who's interested in this comic? And they say, I am, and they purchase it. And they know in a month or 2 months, whenever the campaign's done, they're going to get it shipped because it's already done. That's not what Kickstarter is. Kickstarter is, I have a dream. I have a dream, and you're going to pay for my dream. Okay? We're going to show you nothing. We're going to show you some artwork. We're going to show you some stuff. I had a game. I had a board game. Still have a board game on Kickstarter. Okay? It's done. All I needed was the money to make the actual copies of the game. Right? And no one wanted to support it. Why? Because at that time, people were dicking people over on Kickstarter. They're like, I don't know when I'm going to get it. Okay? So, again, the bad people ruin it for the rest of the people. And this is why I appreciate what Eric July did with Rippaverse, because he didn't use Kickstarter. He didn't use all the other stuff. He made his own site direct to the consumer, and they get their shit when they pay for it.
We can take a look at a massive success. That's Bloodstained. It's an indie game from Castlevania producer Koji Igarashi. Now, it set a 500k goal. That goal
500k goal, Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night, and made $5.5 million with 64,000 backers. I want you to look at that for a second. Think about that in a microtransaction realm. You don't need millions of people to make millions of dollars. You just need a couple thousand people, tens of thousands of people to make millions of dollars.
Represented 10% of the total planned budget. And the reason why is really simple. It's to demonstrate real, tangible commercial interest. Basically, as you know, money follows money, often into a black hole where it all gets destroyed.
Actually, Travis, you do. In Discord, I can make anyone's nickname anything I want. I don't have to ask permission. You can literally just click on someone's name and make a nickname, because the nickname is for you.
But, right, if you're able to fund 500 grand, that's pretty damn good, because little can validate your game concept as well as actually getting backing from your target customers. Now, of course, Bloodstained wildly surpassed that goal, right? Like well over 5 million. But what matters today is that is the funding model, as is basically normal right now. And a lot of that is because for the scale of some of these games, most Kickstarter numbers that you could realistically hit are just not going to be enough money. So here with Camellia, it's essentially the same idea, but with a little bit less star power. Now let's just think through the basics here. 300,000 euro and a team of 14 people.
14 people. Hold on a second. Let me do some math here. That's $21,000 for their salaries if they just were using for their salaries. 21,000. I'm sure they probably weren't making 21,000, but they could have. I'm sure they were making more because they got money from investors and everything else.
If that was to support them through a year, that would be tough, right? It would put them well below average French wages, but across 2 years, the time that they would need to hit.
Hold on, where are they getting the...
It would put them well...
The average salary in France comes to $2,587 net per month. Oh, per month. All right, well, let me divide that by 12. Yeah, that would get them $1,700 a month. A little less than 2,000.
Well below average French wages, but across 2 years, the time that they would need to hit their 2026 release target, that's basically just not possible. And the thing is, it never was the plan. Again, in Kickstarter, it rarely is like that. The whole point is that, well, with an investor demo, which they were building, and substantial commercial interest, that the next step would be the usual one in our industry: to secure a publisher. And for a game like this that really did have visuals that cut through, with proven commercial success, right? Real world market validation, you normally would expect a publisher to pick it up. But even with that being the normal next step, and like really them being in a pretty damn strong position with that in mind, well, the reality is these are not normal times. Okay, you've heard us talk about this stuff before in the channel. Basically, the facts are this: gaming funding is at its lowest point in 5 years. I hear this from my friends.
The lowest in gaming point in the last 5 years. But where is it compared in the history of gaming?
Who are like, you know, over in big AAA-ish land in the States.
Like, COVID really screwed up a lot of the people because they made a shit ton of money because everyone was home. And then also, let's not include with the people putting towards the woke shit that they had, where the funding was going into for diversity and stuff, right? That's been proven that there's actually funding, and they were just giving money to those type of companies. And now everything's changed, right? So now everyone's pulling and holding back their money because they don't want to do anything because there's so many games. Remember, 19,000 games came out last year just on Steam. 19,000.
I hear it from people absolutely everywhere.
How many of those 19,000 games do you think were successful?
It appears in like the fan tips email that we have. It's in the news everywhere. It's goddamn bad times, right? Now take a look at this. This is from Crunchbase, and Crunchbase is a site that's all about venture capital money and
annual gaming related startup funds. Gee, why is 2021? See, this is the problem. This is the problem. Not the bar that's up high. Okay, the problem is everyone fantasized, right? Look at 19, look at 2020, look at 2023. 2023 is the same as 2019. Right? Is the same as 2019. But because everyone was home, right? Everyone started making, so like no one's spending stuff on video games. It's so hard to make money on video games. Well, that's because you were fantasizing about this bar up here and not what it was normally. That's not our problem. That's your problem. Right? It says total funds in billions. Total rounds. Okay? Includes rounds of 200,000 or more for companies founded after 2002. Does not include CVC's private equity investments in Dream Games.
And the line is not going up, guys. It's going down. And
well, let's look at this again. The reason this number in 2025 is so far down is because of 2021's thing is so high. How many games, how long does it take to make a game? 3 to 5 years. Well, look at this. Everyone started making their games after COVID. Everyone was getting the funded, and now they're starting to come out. Right? 1, 2, 3. If they started here at 1, 2, 3, and now they're not spending. So the people coming out with games in 2021 to 2022, and it takes them 3 to 5 years, they can't get any more funding because everyone took the funding back over here. Hence why all the layoffs are happening across all studios, across all tech companies, because they hired so many people. Remember, Xbox hired 75,000 people over 4 years, and now they fired 19,000, and the world's coming to an end, right? Not that there's still positive, 40 or 50,000 people still, but 19,000 people lost their job. No, more people are going to lose their job because there was so many people that came into the industry, again, across the board, not just with Microsoft, with all tech companies.
venture capital money. And the line is not going up, guys. It's going down. And remember, this is VC, so as much as you'll see VCs actually, invest into some pretty banging games, in many cases it is also the ghouls who are chasing mobile games, sports betting, crypto tie-ins, and all of that fun. So that's bad, even though that's where all of the, big money is going. What if you want to make a normal video game like this?
What's a normal video game? What's a normal video game? A side scroller? Like, what are we talking about?
This one, or like Expedition 33. Yeah, good luck. It's not going to be easy, especially if...
But nothing's ever easy. Nothing's ever easy. A YouTube channel, it's not easy. Starting a donut company is not easy.
It's your first...
This is the job. This is the thing. The dream of making a job and doing the thing.
Or like Expedition 33. Yeah, good luck. It's not going to be easy, especially if it's your first published game, even if you are literally a bunch of veterans. And that's because in the current market, even proven teams with historic track records are not being able to maintain funding for...
Z says, trust me, it is tech. By September, the hammer will fall and vendors again.
Through 2024. The evidence for this is pretty simple. It's the massive graveyard that keeps on getting bigger week by week. Now remember that in the situation of Bloodstained, they still needed to convince investors, even though it was from, a producer of Castlevania. Suffice to say, things have not gotten better since. We can talk about some hard numbers, and we're going to use PlayStack for this. You've probably not heard of them. They're a relatively new, not super talked about publisher, but they did publish Balatro and Abiotic Factor, both which did really well. So,
Balatro has hit 500,000 copies marked in just 10 days across all platforms. That's basically winning the lottery, right? That's basically winning the lottery. Now, everyone, of course, is like, well, if Balatro can do it, I can do it, right? And this is how it works. When someone made Vampire Survivor, people go, man, I could do that. I can make a Vampire Survivor. I can do that. It gives people hope. It gives people a reason to like, I can do it, right? Someone that does YouTube sees someone making YouTube, right? I saw a video of Legendary Drop the other day. He's like, the reason I started a YouTube channel is because I saw someone else, I think it was Asmongold, I think he was talking about, and he said, Asmongold said, if you think you can do it, then do it. If you can do it better, then do it. So he did. He did. He came out and he did it, right? So he put his mind to it and worked his ass off to get to where he is, and now he's got like 300, 400,000 people watching him, right? That's the point. It doesn't come easy. I've been doing this shit for 10 years. Look at it, right? It is what it is, okay? But to be like, well, it just doesn't work out. I just, no one's giving me the stuff. You got to do the job. You got to do the job.
They know indie games, and speaking to game developer, they revealed something pretty damn crucial to us. That they get thousands of pitches yearly. Not
what was that?
Crucial to us. That they get...
Balatro publisher PlayStack outlines the path to publishing deal in 2025. Diversity is the key for the publisher, which according to... Diversity means different types of games, not what you think. Okay, thousands of pitch each year. And this means developers looking to pitch should consider what makes the title truly unique before reaching out. Johnson agrees that emphasizes that the developers must understand the intentions of the game and the space it resides in. Yeah. Make a game, sell a game. Go watch that video, by the way. It's a good video. Not a lot of people are watching it. Okay? Talks about making a game and what the developers need to do and what it means to make a game and sell a game.
Thousands of pitches yearly. Not hundreds of pitches, thousands of pitches. And that's just one company. And the way it basically goes is their email will consistently being minigunned with pitches. And then at, say, Gamescoms and stuff, well, they're going to be in the other side of Gamescom, the one that you can't get into with your normal ticket. That's because you got regular Gamescom, which is for, consumers, it's for the marketing of games, but then you'll have the business side of Gamescom. It actually happens...
Right, this is in every business. This is any business. There's the show floor, and then there's the business behind the show floor.
Across different days, it's got different tickets, and basically it's a hell of a lot of just people speed dating with other people to try and make deals happen. So, basically, there's a lot of people who are basically saying, hello, money me now, I want to make a video game. And in the example of PlayStack, for all the thousands of pitches that they get, they're not really publishing that many games. So,
yeah, thousands of games, what do they have?
Success.
9? Yeah. Thousands of games, and they have 9 published.
Is extremely hard. It has in fact got quite a bit harder. But it isn't just a numbers game. In the interview, they
Our priority when greenlighting a project is figuring out how we may solve these challenges together. Is there a clear shared vision for the game? Do we know why the team are confident that they can build a particular game? And what gaps do they need to fill to help them succeed?
say that
Which sounds like just make a game.
success comes whenever developers know their market gap, which essentially is trying to go for the sort of thing that could appear to be an outsized success, something like Balatro. Now, worse still, at least for games like this, the funding quantities have also collapsed. And I'm going to directly quote Playstack here. We are seeing budget asks into the millions. Would we prefer 4 games at 300k or 1 game at 1.2 million?
There you go. It says we would guide the indie games to pitch at sub 500,000, perhaps to have a choice that can reduce the extent from the budget. We run a comprehensive forecasting process for every title, and we sign. And we want to ensure that the cost of development is in the opportunity that we identify. Okay, we are seeing budgets asked into the millions. Would prefer to have 4 games at 300,000 or 1 game at 1.2. It's not impossible. Clearly, the higher the ask, the more we have to weigh up with which games we move forward with. Obviously, I've said this example before with Microsoft with Game Pass, right? Why spend $400 million on a game that gets an 85 when you can spend $100 million and get a game that gets 85? You see what I'm saying? Like, to get to that 90 point, you have to spend 350, 400 million to get to a game to that point, to put that polish and stuff on it. But if I could spend 100 or 150 million on a game and get that same price, mid-tier, high 80s, then I'm going to spend the less money and still make the money because it's better. Just like the movie industry, right? You can make a $400 million movie, but you got to make $700 million to make profit. Or I can make a $100 million movie and I only have to take $300 million and make a profit. Which one would you do as an investor making that film?
Here's the funny thing, right? Years back, I was seeing publishers pushing up budgets. Even publishers like Playstack, actually. They were pushing up way higher budgets than that. And basically, that's what we were seeing, right? There's a lot of encouraging people to aim a little bit higher, bring in more money. It was a very different time, right? It really was a time of plenty. But obviously, there's a hell of a graveyard of just games that appear in Steam, and even if they have amazing reviews, they may only have 300 of them, and not that many sales. So what we've essentially seen is that the risk-reward math has fundamentally changed, and it's not like Playstack come off as some pack of evil bastards. They don't seem to be the kind of publisher who are only interested in taking, their cut at the expense of their developers. There's a lot of publishers who very much are that. Maybe we'll get to talk about some of those very bad deals that I know a few games have got, but can't really talk about because it breaks things that you hear in the grapevine. But man, there's a few publishers that deserve a skewering, and someday I hope that we're able to get some real documents out there so that, it can be actually reported on in a way that is responsible, sourced, and helpful. Anyway, enough of that tangent, but I do want to keep in this video just so that you get a bit of a tone, a bit of a feeling of the sorts of situations that development studios end up in. There's so many situations where, the public may...
I gotta get to the point where, like, when I read... I gotta get to the point like he's doing. He does it well, right? Obviously, he's got a teleprompter in front of him, and he moves and talks and stuff. It's much more fluent. I gotta get good like that.
Be very furious at a development studio, but in reality, they're binded by non-disparagement agreements, and really, it's the publisher that the problems are coming from. Now, Playstack, from everything I've heard, are absolutely not one of those publishers. But even though they do appear to be one of the good actors out there, well, they still need to invest sustainably. And whenever they say, what would you rather have? 1 game, 1 big risk for 1.2 million, or 4 games at 300k? Any of us would say the latter. Indeed, when we look at the humongous game budgets out there, what do we end up saying? Man, how many good games could you have made for the cost of that blow?
Right. How many games could have taken the place of Suicide Squad? How many games could have taken the place of Redfall?
AAA nightmare monstrosity. And this is where we get to a problem for games like the centerpiece of today's video, there's a fundamental issue. And that is that if your game cannot get funding support in the first place, then you're not really going to be making it for anyone. It is absurdly hard to get projects off the ground.
It's absurdly hard to have a successful YouTube channel. It's successfully hard to get into a professional sports team. It's exponentially hard to start a business and be successful. Most businesses close in 2 years, right? And if you pass the 2-year mark, then you close in 3 years. If you pass the 3-year mark, they close before 5 years. If you get past 5 years, most businesses stay open for 15.
It was hard in the past, but these days it is harder than ever, at least via more traditional means. So even though Expedition 33 did absolutely amazing with a small team, a reasonable budget, a hell of a publisher being able to back them up, not everyone's able to get that publisher. It's legitimately hard. There's only so many release slots, there's only so many publishers, and whenever I flashed up the sort of connections thing for, Expedition 33, that's more just to say, it's kind of hard to one-shot that. You do actually need to have built up connections. So getting games off the ground is extremely hard.
But that's for anything, right? Like before you start a business, let's say I wanted to, to start a donut place, right? Would you just say, hey, I'm gonna start a donut place? No, you would go try every donut in the vicinity, right? See who has the best donuts. Then find out what kind of recipes they're using for their donuts, right? Then you would find what's the best location, right? You would do all of this before you say, hey, I'm going to open up a donut shop, right? You find out your market. You find out the people that are in your area that are going to do this or who are going to pay for it. You just don't open up a shop and go, that's going to be successful. No, you got to do your research. You got to do the stuff ahead of time before you get to the thing. And once you do that, right, you start associating with people. You start talking to other donut shop owners because they might have a vendor that you want to use, right? Or, right, and you can use this for any business. You would start communicating. You would start talking to other people within the industry. When I was making a board game, okay, I went to board game conventions. I talked to other board game designers. I talked to distributors. I talked to people that were making the parts. I talked to everybody before I even decided to go, yeah, I'm making a game, right? You don't just go in blindly because most of the time you could be successful, but you would want to make the best opportunity for you before you jumped in.
And if a game that is actually doing so much right by the laws of Expedition 33, small team, ex-AAA, actual veterans, people involved in the project who are tied to...
Exactly, Travis. You have to do the research. You got to do the research. If I'm going to make a JRPG, I'm like, what's my clientele? Who's buying it? Where am I putting it? Where am I distributing it? Who would I like to team up with? Right? Are we doing mobile? Are we doing Nintendo Switch? Are we doing a PlayStation? How much is it going to cost? If I make this game for 3 systems, how much is it going to cost us for 14 people to make this game on every platform? Right? You would have to look at it and go, well, that's not feasible. So I got to pick. Who would you go with? Right?
Amazing titles in the form of the musician that they've worked with. Even when all of that is counting for you, when you're even market validated with real customers, real money to the tune of 3 times your asking amount on Kickstarter, if they can't do it, well, fuck, the situation was hard for everyone else. So what does it mean to you? Well, the knock-on effect is that all of this creates inherent limitations on the types of games that can be backed, right? Because if those budgets are coming down, that will actually influence what sort of thing gets made. So if you want an Expedition 33, you simply just need more money. But to get that money, well, you need proof, because people don't just hand you a big bag of money without proof. Now, ideally, maybe you'll earn enough money from the last game you made to build an investor demo for your next...
Right, Z. Like if you're gonna make a game, right? Splitgate 2 is going through this right now, right? Splitgate 2 says we want to make this game better. They're dying. They're dying. This game is not successful. Their first game, Splitgate 1, they should have kept going with that, but instead they're like, oh, we're gonna do it better. They might have done it better, but now that market has moved, right? That's gone. So now they got to figure out who's it for. Who's playing this? If I'm already playing this said game over here, why am I going to jump ship to play your game? Why is it better? Right? I'm already invested, right? A lot of people don't even look into the amount of money, for instance, Marvel's Rivals right now, if you paid for 3 battle passes, if you paid for 15 skins, you're like a couple $100 in there. So now, let's say another DC comes out with a Marvel Rivals clone, which is an Overwatch clone, which is whatever. Why would you move? You might move, right? Because you're a DC fan, so you might move. But if you're not a DC fan, you're like, well, why am I going to go over there when I already paid for all the stuff over here? That's not even including if it's a good game. That's just sunk costs into that game that you're playing.
Next game. Maybe you'll eke out a few more months in tax credits or some regional government funding, things that most studios do. Expedition 33 is an example of getting regional government funding, but it doesn't always work. What's happened is that so many people have done all of this and really have reached the bar where in the market of, say, a decade ago, they almost certainly would have got published, or at the very least.
Yeah, but who... You ever notice? I actually have I'm working on a script right now about movie theaters. And a problem with movie theaters is they have a whole chunk of movies that they don't show in movies anymore, like the movie theaters anymore. They took a whole 3 genres and removed them from theaters, and they go straight to streaming services, right? That's basically what's happening here, okay? There's things that are not being made anymore, and there's like, well, yeah, it would have been made before, but not anymore. Right? So if you have a rom-com, you're probably not putting it in a movie theater. But you would pitch it to someone. They go, hey, you know what? We need something to put on a streaming service, so we'll put it there. Okay? They know they're not going to make the money over here, so they're like, yeah, small enough budget. We're going to take your rom-com and put it over here. Right? There's no way it's going to get enough money where it makes money in the theaters, so they put it on the streaming service. So, yeah, 10 years ago, if I made a rom-com, 100% that's going into the theater. But that's not the scene we're in now. That's not the gaming scene we're in right now with these games.
Had far better chances. But now those goalposts have changed. Common wisdoms that were normal in the industry have changed. Funding limits have fell, even for the big money man.
This, again, we go back to this chart. This 2025, yes, it's low, right? But this right here, I would love if this expanded more to see what 2018 and 17 and 16 looked like. Because I'm pretty sure it looked like 2019, 2023, and 2024, because that's normal. The 2021, 2022, that is abnormal, dude. That is not what the industry was doing. But that worked because everyone was at home and they were trying to strike while the iron was hot.
And money from the money men and their, all their money, the VCs, as reported by Crunchbase. Just look how much that has fallen. But what I told you was somehow worse than that, because it actually kind of is. You see, what's also happened is the point at which publishers are willing to commit funds has moved further and further and further and further back. There's the odd story about, developers in the past having an amazing pitch for a game and somehow being able to get a deal. But nowadays, it's absolutely not like that. It hasn't been like that for years, but it has just got harder. You need to be further and further and further along in your overall development process to actually get to the point where a publisher will be willing to...
Yeah, you got to put the work in. You got to put the work in. You can't make the money without putting the work in. You got to make sure... Why? If I have 2 companies, 2 people come and pitch me a game, right? I'm a publisher. 2 people come to me. One comes to me with their shit all together. They know what game they're making. They know what market they're in. They know what they're going to make. They know they're making. The other company goes, we're going to make a game. It's going to be like this. Who am I going to pick? Am I going to pick the guy that's farther along in the process? Or am I going to pick the guy that I'm just going to throw a dart at and see if it sticks? Obviously, I want my money back. I want my money invested better. I'm going to pick the guy that's farther along in the project.
Commit funds. And that means that the sorts of lean prototypes that could have seen a team through to funding, those are often no longer enough. And sometimes publishers effectively do just want an alpha build of a game before they're willing to toss their money into the pot. And that's for obvious reasons. Gaming got into quite a bubble where...
Games market revenue are on the up, but the market is maturing and endless double-digit growth is over. Game industry revenues by category global 24, 25, and 2031. Okay. So hardware is this number up here. 19.9 billion, I'm assuming. Yeah, in billion. And 20.6 billion. By 2031, it'll be 24.6 billion. Okay. Subscriptions is 11.8, 13.1, and 18.5 by 2031. And software, which is now digital, is 194.7, 203.2, and 237.0. Year-over-year growth for games market in 2025 is 4.6%, and global inflation rate forecast is 4.2%.
We're not living in a land of just 0% interest rates for, years upon years. The finances have tightened, and the further away from launch in both presentation and content and tech, the more risk that there is. And it's kind of funny. As much as you could pull a Warren Buffett and say, be greedy when others are fearful, and fearful when others are greedy, well, that's kind of hard to do when it's your publisher's money, your job being on the line. Perhaps Kepler did just that. They knew that it was a pretty tight market, that a lot of others were fearful, but they saw the team behind Expedition 33 and thought, no, this is one we need to double down on. That's the thing we need to do. And maybe if more publishers were in a good enough state of financial health to do the same, that this other JRPG made by a small team of...
This is half the size of Expedition 33. This game looks like a Game Boy game, right? This looks like it would do well on mobile, right? This doesn't look the same caliber. And look at poor timing, right? Poor timing. 2 games come out. One is better than the other. Sorry. Bad timing.
Of veterans, some ex-Ubisoft, some French, just like Expedition 33, that maybe it would have survived. But as it stands, the industry has just not been able to take a well-validated game like that certainly looks to be a banger for its target audience, and systemically find the money to support it, which ultimately means that you and me are going to lose. And we only know this because, unfortunately,
we're not going to lose. We're not losing. Do you know why? Because we don't have enough time to play all these games. 19,000 games came out. If this was 19,001 game to come out, we have plenty of games to play. Not enough time to play them.
Unfortunately, Kickstarter money went kaput. Now, whenever you put money into a Kickstarter, you do acknowledge that sort of thing could happen. And taking a look at this game's funding journey...
Hold on, what did that say? Does Kickstarter issue refunds? Kickstarter is not store, and we do not issue refunds. When a back project, you're supporting creators try to make something new and agreeing to go along for the ride. For information, you're fucked. They hit that goal, you're done. If they asked for 300,000, they would have barely made it. But they asked for 100,000, they made 300,000. So they got your money.
Do acknowledge that sort of thing could happen. And taking a look at...
Michael J. Moore here says, I paid $117 for this project. That's like a pre-order to a AAA game. This project is definitely a ripoff. I'm so disappointed, and the reason I backed the Kickstarter is because I'm a big fan of the character design. We did design the work for Golden Sun, and I love the series. It took 4 years for IGA to make Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, but it gave constant updates, and it took this time and made such a great game that this is such a disappointment. This happened quite frequently on Kickstarter, and this is why I'm hesitant to back game projects on Kickstarter now. There you go. There's a person that didn't peek behind the curtain to see the wizard, was like, oh, yeah, $117, right? Someone did this with Battlefield 2042. They paid for the $125 edition and said, this is a broken, buggy game. Someone paid for Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition, and they got screwed. Someone played the Destiny thing, and they got ripped off. And then they changed their mind. They're like, not going to do that again, right? And the more people that do this, the more companies, I should say, that do this, the more people start to see the wizard behind the curtain, where people are not making a game and selling a game. They're selling you a product of a wish of what the game is going to be.
This game's funding journey, people put their personal savings into it. I in no way think this is a rug pull or a scam or anything like that. I think it's that financing is fucking hard, and right now it's harder than ever, meaning that those playing by the rules of 5 years ago are finding that they're no longer sufficient. That makes me sad, because it does mean we'll get fewer games, and the sorts of games that will be made, will look just a little bit different.
Here's the thing, though. If we get less games, and the games that filter through will be better games. Do you understand? If we get less games, the games that are coming through will be higher quality games. there wouldn't be a bunch of crap games coming out pushed on you. There would be quality games. So there you go. Good video. Make sure you go down below, hit the link, give it a like. Quality over quantity. That's right. Yeah, fewer games is better, right? Do you know why there's so many games back in the day, right? When we talk about, like, I don't know, Kangaroo Junior Baseball or Double Dribble or Blades of Steel, there was a shit ton of hockey games. There was a shit ton of basketball games. There was a shit ton of baseball games. But one or two of those baseball games were good. One or two of those football games were good. Everything else was shit. Okay? Competition breeds better quality because you have to make a good game. So if 6 JRPGs come out, one or two of those 6 might be fantastic. Instead of 30 JRPGs come out and 1 or 2 are fantastic and the rest are shit, and more people buy the shit ones than the good ones because there's so many to choose from, instead of just going, hey, the best are there. These are the best games. Okay? These are the games that everyone's talking about. This is the ones you want to purchase. I'm looking at Twitter real quick, scrolling down. Right, less games mean more people buying that game. That's exactly right, Sarge. Is this an update? Co-founder CEO, studio behind Ori Games, said that the studio is Nintendo Switch 2 versus the rest of Wicked. No, I already read that. That's what we read this morning. There you go. Paul Tassi. Paul Tassi has an article here talking about new report says that Xbox Fable may not release until 2027. Amazing. Isn't that weird? 1042. Just talking about Fable earlier. Okay. It's fairly easy to see which AAA games are going to miss their original slate, release date, or window. It's almost all of them. For instance, Rockstar swearing that GTA 6 would be out this fall. I never once believed that. Sure enough, they geared up to play GTA 6 late spring of 2026. Now it's also happened with Fable. Allegedly, 2025 release, but back in February, it was delayed to unspecific time in 2026. Now it turns out it may be even longer than that. The news comes from a reputable Xbox insider, Shepshel Nick, or Shiesville Nick, butchered it, who said that Xbox Era Podcast, the two sources have told him that Fable may not arrive until 2027. Not that anything is going especially wrong, just that it's just taking longer than they thought, which would be at that time, 11 years? Right? Something like that. It says you could join in with the statement of the head of Xbox Studio, Craig Duncan, back when the original delay was announced, if you want to look at the delay headspace, which is why it happened twice. He says, quote, so I just want to start with really excited. We're really excited about progress. We're really excited about where Playgrounds are, and said Duncan. And we previously announced that the date for Fable 2025, we were actually going to give Fable more time, and it's going to ship in 2026. Now, while we also know not maybe the news people want to hear, I want to assure people that it's definitely worth the wait. And I have to unequivocally confidence in the Playground team. For a long while, Microsoft returning to classic IPs of Fable Perfect Dark felt like it was two biggest pending games, but it was also the wake of the slew of layoffs and cancellations. Perfect Dark was axed in its entire studio. The initiative was shut down. Could that happen to Fable? Maybe. But I'll tell you what, if the game's not good, then don't release it. You know what I mean? If it seems far less likely. The initiative was a brand new studio, while Playground is something of a crown jewel of Xbox stable, and they're also history working on an always great Forza. Second, Perfect Dark was reportedly plagued with issues for a long time, while we haven't heard any similar doom or gloom of Fable, even if it keeps getting delayed. Still, this typical announcement in millions of years before and ready situation as Fable was first revealed back in 2020 when the Xbox Series XS also debuted. It's also taking 2027 now. We'll also do the math. Even if nothing is explicitly wrong, it's still AAA development is now. Right? 7 years? I thought it was 11. So it's 7. The last we saw Fable trailer was Xbox Game Showcase in June of 2024. Seen above the 2.5-minute spot was also a lot more. We also previously, judging by the amount of dislikes and all the trailers, the game already seems to pose to be a product of culture that of nonsense, given that the focus of female-led. I don't give a shit about that stuff. So there you go, right? So here's the thing. Again, if Fable is if you make a game and sell a game, if that game is that you're making is not you're not making the game, it's an unfinished game, broke, buggy, unfinished game, and then you release it, it's worse than waiting for the game to come out. And if the game never comes out, that means it was bad and it shouldn't come out, like a Redfall. Okay? It's just what it is. So, okay. 19,000 games came out last year. Do we need Fable? We don't need Fable. Do we want Fable? Sure, a lot of people want Fable. Am I going to lose sleep over Fable not coming out until 2027? No. Not only did I wait 7 years for them to complete this game, but when's the last time a Fable game came out? Was it 2008? Right? Was it 2008 was the last Fable game to come out? When did Fable 3 come out? (2010), right? 15 years. I waited 15 years. So why can't I wait 16 years or 17 years? Travis says, 30 butchers a name. Bingo card complete. You're welcome. That's the free spot, Travis. You don't get a spot. That's just the free spot in the middle. Butchered name, free spot. Because it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Xbox's bad habit of showing things too early and not hearing much about it in years later. Yeah, well, it's not just them. It's not just them. Lots of studios do it. You still completed the car? What's the other spots? What's the other spots? Go ahead. Continue the joke. What other spots are on the car that got hit? Battlefield 6, new trailer release July 24th at 8 a.m. Pacific. You sent me a 2-minute video? Oh, is it Borderlands? Clip says, well, I mean, when Fable looks like Witcher, there to me, so might be good, but doesn't look bad. I don't know why people are saying it does, but each their own. This game is releasing in September. What game is releasing in September? Oh, Battlefield 6. I mean, I said it's coming out this year. They said it's coming out in March. So we'll see. Early talks coming in for Fantastic Four. People said it's better than Superman. That's what they say. My bar was here, and then I saw Superman, and now my bar's here. I mean, I don't. Okay, hopefully it's great. Why does my I don't understand why my Twitter feed doesn't update and it's like 20 hours behind. I'm confused what's happening here. What's happening here?
I think that's my favorite.
What someone explain to me what's happening here. Okay.
Listen, these are gorgeous. I think that's my favorite image so far.
Just our hands.
Yeah. As long
That
as
was
you
our
don't
very
have to
first
see,
day
As
as
long as you
well.
don't have to see my face. Listen.
What's happening here? She's married, isn't she? I mean, she's got a baby in her belly. It's not his. Like, what's happening? Robert Jones says he's getting petted. I see that, Jones. I can see what's happening. I'm asking what's happening. It might be his. Z says 30 needs to explain the Goonie Squad. Eclipse says, so how much different would it be if the internet if he was doing if a man was doing that to a woman? True. It's just fucking weird. All right, guys, don't look it up. Don't look it up. Okay. What did IGN give Fantastic Four? What'd they give it? Robert Jones says 7. Roic says 7. Dog says 7.5. Eclipse says 9. Z says 8. Aku says 7. Travis says 2. Oh, wait. That's what I give it. And here it is.
Just hit the scene, all the gamers hyped is the next big thing. AAA title or a quirky indie gem, what's the verdict? Oh, here we go again. Graphics are stunning, but the story's a sin. Gameplay solid, but it's just not fresh within. No matter how it shines or where it might land, IGN's got a score that we all understand. Graphics are stunning, but the story's a sin. Gameplay solid, but it's just not fresh within. No matter how it shines or where it might land, IGN's got a score that we all understand. 7 out of 10 is the favorite group. No matter the game, that's our go-to move. Is it good? Is it bad? We'll never really know. 7 out of 10, it's the same old show.
There you go. 7 out of 10. It's not a game, but, you know, they love giving out 7 out of 10s. Jason says, why does Pedro have to be Reed? Because they hate you, Jason. Yeah, because they hate you. Z says, well, 30 IGN has at least proven they're not shills for the Marvel and Disney. Well, we'll see. The score is one person's review. We'll see what IGN does. Travis says, remember, Pedro said, quote, basement-dwelling Marvel fans will go see it because they have no choice. I forgot that he said that. I forget that he said that, Travis. Oh, Jesus. Did you see the clip I put in our Discord yesterday? Last night? Look, this shit's funny. Okay? Okay. I want you to watch this now. Okay? Let me make sure the volume's up so you guys can hear it. All right, this is someone outside a movie theater. All right, someone outside a movie theater. Okay?
You guys come to AMC Theaters, what movie you want to see? You want to see a Pedro Pascal movie?
All right, there's a Pedro Pascal movie, right? Pedro Pascal.
You want to see a Pedro Pascal movie?
There's another Pedro Pascal movie. Okay. Then we have...
Or do you want to see a Pedro Pascal movie?
Oh, my God. And people are saying, no, he's not in everything. There's 3 movies outside the fucking one theater here, and they're all Pedro Pascal.
Which Pedro Pascal movie do you want to see? He's even Superman. Oh, wait a minute. That's not him. But there he is.
Like, what are we talking about? Like, what are we talking about? The whole thing is just Pedro Pascal. Pedro Pascal. Well, here, if you guys haven't seen it, if you haven't watched it, go watch my Why I Don't Like Pedro over on my other channel, Nerding with 30. Okay? It's getting pretty good viewership. It's got 385. Okay? And it talks more about, yeah, I talk about why I don't like Pedro, but it's a bigger problem. The bigger problem is it's not Pedro's fault. It's the industry's. It's the way Hollywood is. So if you want to go learn more about what I have to say about that, go check out Why I Don't Like Pedro. I only show for my own stuff here. Okay, we got lots of content here. No, I don't give a shit. I know you're joking, but I don't give a shit that he has hair. I don't care that I'm losing my hair, but don't care. Don't care. You know why I don't care? Because I'm a confident man. That's why. I should just say I'm a man. That's why. Yeah. All right. Let's see what else is happening. James Gunn says Superman isn't performing as well overseas due to a certain amount of anti-America statement around the world right now. In 1978 and the 80s, there was the Cold War. No problem back then. See, he says 30 doesn't like him because Pedro wears women's blouses way better than him. Well, yeah, because I don't wear women's blouses. So, let me go. A man's man? I mean, I don't know if I'm a man's man. Nah, I'm not a man's man. You know what's a man's man? Do you ever see those guys? We were at a restaurant the other day, Robert Jones, and we were watching the World's Strongest Man competition, and we were watching guys like pick up like sandbags and like chucking them over their heads backwards like 50 yards over a beam, like a goalpost, and they would go farther and farther, and then they would pick up a 271-pound rock and lift it above their head, and then after that, they would have to pick up a 300-pound rock and then pick that up, and then they would have to pick up a 360-pound rock. That's a man's man. Me? No. I'm just a man. A man's man. That's a man's man. Where they're like bending crowbars and shit. They're like, rah. That's not me. First reactions. Here we go. Are you ready? Marvel's first family finally gets the film they deserve. Everyone understood the assignment, and I mean everyone. The stake haven't felt this high in a long time. All 4 members of the team play the roles exceptionally and share perfect chemistry. Well, yeah. What's her name is petting fucking Pedro Pascal in an interview. Okay. Most visually stunning and totally distinct MCU movie yet. I almost threw up there for a second. I was talking about Marvel. I almost threw up. Okay. Best MCU film since No Way Home. Am I reading IGN? No. No, I'm reading... Someone posted... Where is it? Screen Time. I'm reading Screen Time. Do you want me to read the IGN? Let me see here. All athletes do, Jason. So I mean all? Damn wrestlers use steroids? Who would have guessed? What does that have to do though? I mean, a guy that's lifting a car above his head, that's a man's man, right? I don't care if he's on steroids or not. I mean, here's what I'll say, right? If you're going to call Eclipse a liar, I mean, you got to be one to know one, right? Fantastic Four. Which skins are better? Fortnite or Marvel Rivals? I mean, I know the answer. Crowded House says it's going to be better than Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts actually, people said they actually liked Thunderbolts. No one knew anybody in Thunderbolts house. I didn't watch it, but they said it was actually a pretty good movie. I don't know. I'll let you know when I watch it in a couple of months. Travis says, I see what you're doing there. If I say I don't lie, I'm lying. If I say I do, I lie. Now then I lie. So well done, 30. You're welcome. Krebby says, Marvel / DC, I just stopped giving a fuck. Yeah, but it's always fun to talk about, Krebsy, right? I do miss the breakdowns that we used to do and used to call in and we had conversations. I do miss that. Those were good times. All right, doesn't look like there's anything else going on here. That special effects doesn't look... I'm not going to show the clips. I just saw some of the special effects. And that guy said there was some of the best, and then I just looked at it. They didn't show the best. They should have held that one back. They should have held that one back. I don't know who did that. Somebody put they put him in a microwave. Ah, man. So somebody took the time for each frame to cap that out just so they could do the circle there. Let me see if anything else is going on. Oh, did they put the costumes in? Okay.
Disappear!
Let me. There you go. This is the new Fantastic Four outfits. Fantastic Four outfits inside Marvel Rivals. See, now this is the things that they should be doing, right? I know they're doing it in Marvel's Mythic Mayhem. They added the Fantastic Four, like, story mode type of thing inside there. They look good. They look good. All right, I think that'll do it. That's going to do it. All right, we'll be back tonight for some more RoboCop. We're going to play some more RoboCop Rogue City Unfinished Business tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. If you like that, come on by 8 p.m. to see more RoboCop. We played about 3.5 hours last night. I think it's about an 8-hour to 10-hour game, so we'll have like 2 more streams, and we should be done with the thing, maybe a little longer. Thank you very much for coming out. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. What YouTube has changed, okay, make sure you interact, right? If you're here and you've been talking in chat, that's an interaction, so I appreciate that. If you haven't hit the like button yet, hit the like button. Go check out some of the other videos on the channel. Go check out Nerding with 30. I got some more scripts that I'm working on that I'm going to upload and whatnot, so I appreciate it very much. Eclipse says Fortnite got 1-2, and he actually looks like Pedro. You love that, right, 30? I'm going to go download it right now. I'm going to go get it. So we'll be back tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. If you don't see me tonight, I'll see you guys tomorrow morning for the Daily Grind. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Sunshine, rise and shine. The Daily Grind is here on time with gaming news and fun galore. We'll chat and entertain once more. The coffee's hot, the mic is on. Jump in the chat, let's have some fun. From pixels small to stories grand, we bring the magic to your hand. We're nitty tuning daily, don't you miss entertainment wrapped in bliss. From new releases, tips and tricks, the Daily Grind, your morning fix. Controller ready, headset too. We've got the updates just for you. From late night streams to morning plays, we cover gaming all the ways. Controller ready, headset too. We've got the updates just for you. From late night streams to morning plays, we cover gaming all the ways. sunshine, rise and shine. The daily grind is here on time with gaming news and fun below. We'll chat and entertain once more. The coffee's hot, the mic is on. Jump in the chat, let's have some fun. From pixels small to stories grand, we bring the magic to your hand. Tune in daily, don't you miss entertainment wrapped in bliss from new releases.